Welcome, everyone. This is Pineleaf Needles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Ending,
Hey, everybody.
Terry Adwin,
Hi, hi.
Maven,
Hey, y'all.
Aerother,
Hello, everybody.
and Carvet.
At your service and your families.
So then let's head into our game news for this week, where Turbine has made a call for Raiders.
That's right, Pineleaf. The beacons are lit, and Gondor and Turbine calls for aid for some raiders to come and aid in their testing process. And they say, and I quote, "Do you enjoy group content? When an instance is being done with your kin or your friends, are you always there? If the answer to those questions is yes, we may be looking for you. We are coming up on the time when we begin testing our new raid and other content on our Palantir test server. And we need more people to help us test the content out and make it great as can be. If you would like to help us out and become part of our testing group, here is what you need to do." And you can go to the article and find out all the stuff you need to do. But basically, they're calling for raiders, and there have
Who knew
been...
this was actually Star Wars?
And so I think it's actually good that they are asking for raiders when, they're making this obnoxiously large raid. It would be horrible if they made this huge, huge raid with, like 5 to 7 or more bosses based on the different comments that they've been making, and then have it be completely wrong and nobody likes it after putting that much work into it. So hopefully, they'll get plenty of testing and it'll be really good. A really cynical comment I saw was that Turbine already got rid of all their raiders, so that's why they're asking for more to come and test. Really cynical there.
I thought you were
But
going to say that there are going to be so many cooks giving input here that they'll never get it done.
well, there is that as well, I suppose. But hopefully this will help make the raid be better, and people will really enjoy it when it comes out.
All right, then let's see what's on sale this week. Terry, anything interesting?
Well, not really.
Okay.
But for example of the week, if you're into the PvP thing, is a plus 100% infamy round gain. Use coupon code that you can find in the show notes. And 25% off virtues, virtue bundles, trait slots, and skill and slayer deed boosts. I don't spend turbine points on these, but it's not one of those things like legendary items that I tell people not to. So if you've got the points to spare and you don't feel like grinding deeds, buy some virtues. They're on sale. I just do the
All right.
deeds.
Then let's head into our community events from May 6th to May 12th at Swan Lake. All right. So,
Don't look at me in that tone of voice, Pineleaf. I don't know.
all right. Right. Therefore, we have our community events from May 6th to May 12th. And anybody have here something that they wish to push? Looks like a Hobnanigans Chicken League is opening up.
Yeah, there's some serious Hobnanigans actions today.
Well, I guess if the league was up, yeah, I guess this is when they'll be playing. It looks like the league is designed for 3-player teams.
That makes sense.
Because getting 6 people together for a team is too tough.
Well,
Wow.
I mean, I've only done Hobnanigans twice, and both times I ended up on a team with the AFK alts of the people on the other team. So, I feel like it's a little bit of a prejudice against Hobnanigans with some people. That like, oh, it's only useless and people AFK, but this is actually really cool because people actually get a chance to play and against people that are interested in it and
That are
want
interested
to be there.
in active, yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting actually.
Here's something interesting. The rally in Casa Dune, Saturday, May 14th at 2 p.m. Crick Hollow server.
That sounds really cool. I probably can't go, but it sounds really cool.
Yes, they join in the rescue effort to locate 12 lost explorers within Khazad-dûm. The first three to find all 12 will receive a fabulous reward.
Well, I was
Well, that
gonna
sounds like
say Rally and Khazad-dûm sounded a lot like the Middle-earth lore when in episode 3 when all those dwarves were charging and they were yelling Baruch Khazad in our test video. And so, you have like this huge army of dwarves. Hopefully there's some element of that in this event because that was just amazingly awesome and everyone should experience that because it's super cool. So I'm hoping that's what this event's about in part.
All
awesome.
right.
Take a souped-up goat into the rally. A hairy dwarfin son ready for action.
Right. Oh, I didn't realize the next article was about the Hobnigans
Yeah, I was
Chicken
gonna say
League.
finally, but we got that. We got that covered.
All right, so let's go to the Spring Racing Carnival 2016, which is also on May 14th. Just so if you are on
Landreval.
Landreval instead of on
Kirkhollow.
Carcala, yeah, yes. Hey, actually, no, it means on
Yeah,
Crick
Spring
Hollows.
Racing
That should
Carnival
help.
is Windy Acres Ranch. That's an event that they do every year. It's very, very cool. I've never been able to go, but I've seen videos of it after the fact, and it's really cool.
Right, and they have races at 11 o'clock. It's the first qualifier at Thorns Hall. Then at noon, the Rivendell Cup at the Last Homely House. And then at 1 p.m., the Bounders Cup at Nickel Delving. Then you head over to the rodeo at Henning Stacer's Farm. And finally, the Eridor Cup championship race is at 5 p.m. and then a concert at 6. And it's quite an event. And
Nice.
anyone else have anything to say about this before we go on?
Well, not about this, but I have to read Barnabas's comment from the chat. Not only do the elves send you back to Moria, now player events are doing it.
How many people have been taking cues from Elrond? Oh, you thought you were done. Go back.
All right. Then let's go to the poll. And what is your favorite part of the Lord of the Rings books?
Yes, finally, that was the poll we asked this week, and there were 249 votes on this poll. The top answer was not very surprising. It was the story with 35% of the vote, followed by the setting with 28%, the characters with 17%, the themes with 8%, the style with 5%, other with 4%, and 3%, 8 people said there were books.
Those 8 people are glad I don't know where they live.
Well, here's
Because I would
what I
send
think.
them like copies of it.
Yeah, you'd send them books.
Read it.
It'd be
Yeah.
What
horrible.
cracks me
Yeah.
up about this is people responded there were books, comma, either tongue in cheek or legit, I don't know. But B, whoever created this poll thought to put that in as a response.
Yeah. And that was actually King Tag's comment, but yes. Because
Well,
King Tag suggested this week's poll.
I feel like the everything should be an option.
And that was in there as well. The thing is, these are actual different things, and I totally get the wanting for everything, but then this poll becomes completely pointless, in my opinion, when you have an everything option. So,
I mean, I picked this setting, but because Middle Earth.
yeah.
So, yeah,
I picked the
So hard
setting
to
as
pick.
well.
hard to pick.
It's funny because you could totally turn this into like a skirmish. Well, if it wasn't for the story, the setting would have no meaning without context.
Well, Tolkien created the setting well before the story.
Which come first, chicken or the egg?
Yeah, why isn't the languages on there?
The one thing, yeah, I didn't include languages, which I thought of after the fact, and I also didn't include maps.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, actually, the maps and the names came first.
But I figured
I'll tell you
maps
what,
were
man.
part of setting. You could
The
include that in it.
maps were like the first thing I saw when I started reading the book because they're like right there in the title page, and it totally kind of drew me in. I was like, "Ooh, he drew maps. I like maps." I was a junior high when I first picked it up, so I was like, "Pictures, cool."
Yeah, the maps are really well done.
Then let's head into Lotro Academy After School, Episode 4, where we once again talk about craziness.
Yes, and this one introduced our first ever Stump Pine Leaf segment, which was fantastic.
So I guess you try to ask Pineleaf a question that he can't answer.
We invite the chat to ask him questions to attempt to stump him.
Did it work?
Yeah, a couple of times.
Cool.
It's really rare, but it did happen a couple of times.
Must have been network lag on the Pinepedia.
Yeah.
It doesn't have too much in pop culture in it, though.
Gotcha.
Then we also had Tales of the Free Folk, Episode 16. Tap, tap, tap.
So I'm pretty sure Sarissa and May are still tapping, like even off the show, they're still tapping.
Or at
Just
least
to-
May is, right? May is like,
Right.
oh, okay, Sarissa, that's what I'll do. Okay, tap, tap, tap. She's so gullible, that girl, that elf.
I just
now I'm
expect Sarissa
curious.
to like turn around at May and so be like, so how's the counting going? I'm just counting on you now to count. I hope
Right,
hope you're
right.
doing well.
Right.
Now I'm curious.
No, because Sarissa's totally going to be tapping.
Yeah, she really would be, but still that'd be funny.
Now, like,
should have watched the episode,
necessarily
Arthur.
as visibly as May probably is, because May's,
Oh yes.
May's not as practiced at the technique.
No.
It's
We're-
more,
we're-
See, May is assuming that this is what
more of a subtle
human
gesture.
she's totally all over this stuff because she's learning from Sarissa how human minstrels operate. She's very excited about it.
This
And
is gonna be interesting.
if you want to know what we're talking about, you can go over
Poor
and listen
May.
to Tales of the Free Folk, episode 16.
I want to know what you're talking about.
It was great.
And-
It was a method to solve a particular challenge where certain things needed to be done, and so
Things happen.
Sarissa did
Things-
something
things
and then
happened.
recruited May to do it too, and so yeah.
You realize that didn't help at all, right?
Yeah.
Nope. I realize it was vague at its finest, which is an oxymoron, and I know it. It was a finely tuned, vague statement. Hope it brought into clearer focus of complete opacity for you.
Let's say that it is time to fix the Lotro/save bug. Yeah. Forte Maestro, yes, writes a little essay telling us why we must fix the /save bug because it has been annoying musicians for
Years.
a while.
Years.
I'm still not 100% sure on the details of this bug. I think
It
most
Tells you
musicians
in
do-
the article, actually. It's
Yeah, yeah.
basically you can be at a concert or an event with a bunch of people, and for whatever reason, something bugs out, and you lose the say channel, not altogether, just for certain people. So you can be standing next to a person and not be able to see what they're typing for say.
I still think Lotro needs a music channel where you can put all the lyrics and things, and then people won't complain that it's being spammed all the time at Weatherstock and things like that, because they can just turn off their music channel.
Why would they go to Weatherstock if they're not there for the lyrics?
Well, it's people that are questing that
It's-
get
it's-
just
it's-
super
Oh.
duper upset,
They
and then they
think-
start trolling and yada
Right.
yada.
They use the regional channel for some of the stuff because of
And that's
the
also
distance.
an issue too. Yeah.
And yeah, there was one time where some questers were complaining about Weatherstock using the regional channel, and the GM, for some reason, did not realize that Weatherstock was a thing and started posting warnings to
Yep.
the musicians.
But then
and
another
I-
GM took care of it. So
Yeah, another G.
It's like,
So a
dude,
GM
dude,
GM'd
dude,
the
what
GM.
are you doing? Dude, no, stop.
Yeah.
That's a legit thing, man. We don't want to troll that. That's good.
I just have an image of like a really relaxed GM being like, "No, stop that, man. It's fine. It's Weatherstock."
Hey, what happens at Weatherstock stays at Weatherstock, alright?
That's right.
Let it roll.
And there just happens to be a jazz song playing at Weatherstock right when
There'll
we
be,
say
like, there'll, be like, there'll be like screen caps of Weatherstock later that'll be like in black and white.
Let's go. Middle Critter Earth, a Critter's Journey update. We needed
In
an
which
update?
Squirrel, yeah, because he's changing up some things in Critter's Journey and he's doing some additional stuff. So he's keeping folks posted on what's going on with Critters, which is a succinct summary without spoiling anything because you got to read the article.
Sweet.
Well, then let's head into Small Lotro Adventures, episode 52, Trekking with Eggwolf.
Gesundheit.
Well, yeah. Another Bingo Boffin session.
Yep.
I guess that's all we'll say for that one.
All right, so for Bingo Boffin, like, how bad does the level gaps get between Bingo as you go? Like, it seems like there are sometimes...
In the high level places, there's actually a 4-level raise.
Does it get any worse than 4 levels, or is it usually about something like that?
Does it get any worse?
No,
Well, I
fortunately, fortunately, 4 is the worst jump I've seen.
Yes, and luckily this last week it was only a 1 level. Hopefully that will be the trend moving forward till the end.
Yeah, well, I guess it really depends on the linear path they've decided Bingo to go. I'm just curious.
Well,
they
I mean, right
can't
now
go
it's
ahead-
at 93 or whatever, so...
Yeah, they can't. Right, unless they have a long period at the end where they're at cap, or they go to 105. They
We're
don't
getting
have
really
much
close.
room for going more than one for the week now. So let's head into the family line, part 90. Here we go.
There we went.
There
it
is. Yeah.
You could
makes
have
me wonder
scripted that
if-
better.
That was great.
Well, it's like it makes me wonder if Tim had it all storyboarded out to level cap at 100, and then they added an additional 5 levels, and he's like, "Oh, great! Now what are we gonna do?"
I feel bad. Like this, I can't wait for the summer because with teaching, like right now we're coming up on finals, which is crazy. So and then you've got finals coming up. Like I've got finals coming up too for my students, and I actually got I'm taking over some other class that's not actually mine, and I have to write a final for that class, not having spent a day in the class really at all. So it's like no pressure, but it's like it's a lot of work and stuff. So I've got to I haven't had a chance just with work to sit down and go through these. So like over the summer, I want to like take 2 days and just sit and binge read all of these awesome stories, and I can't wait. It's gonna be great. That was it.
All right. Then let's head into.
Apparently, I didn't close that out strongly enough.
That's awesome.
Let's head to Critter's Journey, number 22, A Last Consult.
I cannot believe that this is already on episode 22. That is crazy.
Yep.
Okay.
And then we have.
Yep.
Oh, what?
No, nothing. I said, and that happened.
Okay.
Yeah. that episode that pretty much sums up that episode of Critter's Journey. Actually, it's like,
Yep.
oh, okay, and that happened.
Yes, okay. Okay, then let's head into Poems of the Pine, Scourge of Khazad-dûm, which is Volume 2, Book 8 of the Epic Storyline.
The Return to Moria.
Yes. We have the head of the horde of orcs, but that foul the caves of Khazad-dûm. But we cannot leave these cruel dens till we break the relics that blight these halls. The first we found in foulest dens were Marival marred the mirrors of old. We changed their courses and cleaned their sheets to shine the light in New Mulnar. Then deep we delved in as dark as we dared to seek the second relic in the river dark. We restarted the wheels that were stilled by our foes, then broke the relic of ruin and dread. Then we found at last in the foundations deep and broke the bane of dwarves. The relics are cleared, so we are ready to head from Moria to Mirkwood at last.
Barnabas in the chat says, now Pineleaf is poeming Moria? Come on! So we're still coming back to Moria again on the show.
Well, they did say we cannot get out. Try
Well,
though you may. Get out, get out.
all right. Let's head into our new player question. What's the question for this week?
Am I on? Am I on? Okay, is this thing on? Tap, 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 tap. Brannick is probably going to yell at me for this new player question because it really came up as a result of the Lotro Academy episode that I guessed, the part 1 that I guested on, and we haven't done part 2 yet, and we'll talk about it then too. But I want to go ahead and bring it up because I think it's a valid new player question. I've noticed that the Anorian crafting tier now has a bulk option for processing raw materials. Is that a valid option? Is it any different from processing the mats singly in terms of both XP and crafting XP?
Well, the
Well,
bulk
first
option's
off,
been there for a little while. In
yeah,
a couple years prior to that.
Yeah, for several tiers before that.
I didn't see it on my Forester. I
think
only
you have
saw
to
it on
buy
an
it.
Anorian. Yeah, you have to buy it, but in
yeah,
Anorian you got it automatically. So
right,
you get
yeah,
it
I think those
automatically. You don't have
recipes
to
are
buy
at the
it.
skirm camp if you get them.
Yeah, they're at the skirm
prior
camp. I wasn't
to.
talking about those, but
Right,
I
right.
assume they apply. I assume
Probably
the
the
question
same
would
deal.
still apply for those if you got them out of the skirm camp as well. So if you're doing like bulk, 25, like one click gets you 25, leathers.
Okay, now I know why I was wondering about because the farmers' recipes haven't been through the skirmish. As far as I know, the farmers' ones have always been auto granted because I've always seen them in my.
Yeah, the farmers ones came with certain tiers.
Yeah, but farming is weird.
Yeah.
Farming is weird. Also, I don't remember seeing anything at the scholar for the scholar either. But for prospector and forester, you get it at Honorian level. You get it that bulk thing automatically. You don't have to go buy it at the skirm camp. But this question is still the same. You're like, if I wanted to shorten the time, am I still going to get the same XP?
No.
I mean, I already know the answer to this, but I just wanted somebody else to answer.
No, the bulk recipes are not good XP wise in terms of craft materials to XP. You're better off leveling your crafting using individual combines. But if you have a bunch of stuff and you need the crafting materials for other stuff, just you can bulk process them, and it's significantly faster than doing the individual processing.
Right.
So level yourself on the singles, and then once you get done to the singles, you can just get the bulk recipes, whether you buy the lower level ones at the skirmish camp with marks and medallions, or you get the ones that come free with whichever tier of crafting you've unlocked. The time factor is better when you use the bulk recipes, but the XP factor is better when you use the single processing ones.
And I was talking to Brannick and Pineleaf about this. Why would I want to do that? Because once I've topped out, why would I want to process that number? And they answered the question, and they're absolutely right. It's especially true with gilded recipes. Let me give you an example. In the tailor gilded recipes, many times, if I'm making like a whole outfit, like 6 pieces, a lot of times those gilded recipes call for not only brush leather, but glazed leather and finished leather, which means I need 2 of each to make the next tier up leather. So across 6 outfits, I easily can go through. And if I'm wanting to crit, I need extras. So yeah, I mean, I could probably go through 50 hides with that. So that was the answer there. It's like, I was already topped, I was already leveled up, but when I'm going to make those outfits, that's really the use of that thing. I don't worry about the XP, but I can do it really fast. 2 clicks and I've got, 50.
Yeah, plus you can use it if you're an alcoholic or you're making stuff for auction sale.
Right, for other
you're making it for other things.
For auction house, that's true.
Dang handy to have. Like when you realize you're sitting there crafting 200 of something because you just have to convert hides to have leathers for your other characters. You're like, oh, this is going to take forever. Or it's 8 combines if you use the bulk recipes and you're done in a fraction of the time.
Yeah, that's like, for example, if I have a prospector, I can't remember how it goes, but I've got like the crafting that can't do the ore processing, so somebody else has to do the ore processing. Have them do the ore processing. Boom, boom. send it over to my whatever that is, metalsmith or weaponsmith, and Bob's your uncle. So that's cool. All right, thank you very much for that, gang.
Yeah.
And stay tuned for the Academy second part of crafting to be had later on down the line, and we'll talk about more of that kind of stuff. See, that's a good recipe. That's a good commercial, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Right, Brannick?
Good job. Good job.
All right, let's.
Maven was
let's
never
hit-
seen after that.
The Maven just switched shows. What? She doesn't realize it yet. Just kidding.
Let's see. Let's see what our week was last week in Lotro and Carvette. What were you up to?
I was up to my usual height of 3'6", being a very stout-hearted dwarf. Which is a joke. I'm not really 3'6". This week in Lotro, I had a lot of fun, which is what you should do every week in Lotro, because it's a fun game, and if you're not playing it for fun, why are you playing it? Public service announcement. Okay, what I really did, though, was I tanked skirm raids for the first time on my captain, after finally getting out of that elvish maze ruin in Eregion, after spending an entire week in this tiny little hole, because that's where we logged out last time. Ran the Beard Kissers through the Great Barrows, and I realized that when I'm on stream and there's other people in group and they're not talking, I do all the talking for everybody. So Carvalant talked a lot towards the end of the stream because nobody else is talking. I'm like, hey guys, oh look, there's a dead guy. Oh look, another dead guy. Oh look, there's another thing over here. It's like Carvalant had way too much coffee before he ran the dungeon. It's kind of funny and alternately weird at the same time.
Well,
And
you
then
know, Wildflower does plenty of talking too, so
she
it's not
does
just
too.
you.
She does too. Well, it's funny because you get into a group and everybody all of a sudden is like, "Oh wait, we're game mode. We could actually die now." Everybody focuses, and then the level of comedic chatter kind of drops down a notch. And you can see it on Tuesday nights when we play, or you can see it in any group really. Like when I'm watching a stream or I'm watching a YouTube video, there's a lot of chatter, and then they get to a fight and everybody shuts up, and it's focus mode. So very different.
I've never seen that happen on Tuesdays.
It does sometimes.
Possibly
it
the one or two Tuesdays that I've missed.
Yeah.
Because you guys know me, I don't
Just
shut
saying. Okay, so goal achieved. Pay the free-to-play Hobbit, going from Arkhet to Angmar, which is spelled wrong in the show notes. Shame on me. I know how to spell Angmar. Has made it to level 50. He has finished the first half of the Volume 1, and he quested all of Angmar, and he's poised to go into Moria. And he decided he's going to chill for a while. Because now that we've got Moria unlocked on that free-to-play account, I'm going to Twitter to see what class they want me to take into Moria. So right now there's a Twitter poll at Carvet LP whether or not I'm going to play a Lore Master, a Mini, or a Hunter. So I'd like to hear your...
Inopay.
You think I should take Inopay into Moria?
Take OG freebie. Or
Take
whatever.
Inopay, play freely, Miser, into Moria. We'll
Yes.
make your voice heard, Arthur. Go to the Twitter.
I'm going to, if I can find it.
Yeah, it just go to my name, I think. I didn't tweet much today. But that right now is what's going on. Oh, and by the way, this week I noticed we hit 200 followers on my Twitch channel. I was like,
Nice.
oh, sweet. Check it out. Boom. So at some point I'm going to have somebody
That's
teach me how
great.
to use Moobot or one of those
Zelda.
raffly type things so that I can express my love and appreciation. We're probably doing a Beard Kisser stream.
Question
Yeah.
for you, Carve.
So, yes.
You got Lore Master, Minstrel, and Hunter. Which one's Inopay? He's Minstrel, right?
He's a mini,
He's a mini.
All right.
He's a
Vote.
mini.
Minstrel.
Because, he's a hobbit. He's a mini.
Yeah.
That makes me laugh. I also have a mini hunter. My hunter's named Honey Bear. And my lore master is named Friedman. So, not Morgan Friedman, but anyway. Arathert, how was your week?
My week was pretty good. To be honest, I didn't actually play as much Lotro this week as previous weeks of my life because it was Star Wars week, because May the 4th be with you. And
The fits.
so yeah, but I did play Lotro. Monday the roleplay stream was fun. It's hard to like roleplay, and I'm still not comfortable with it, but I'm slowly getting more comfortable with it. So that's good. But yeah, I had fun with it. There was no carve this time, so it was a solo roleplay, which sounds really lame. Anyways,
You were monologuing.
yeah, I was talking to non-playable characters a lot, and I warned somebody about a dwarf flatulence. Anyways, um, you can watch it if you want to see what I'm talking about.
I
So
remember that.
there was, other than that, in the past like week and a half, I actually did a lot of TP grinding. In Carve, and I helped Carve like ran it through with me the first time, and I ran through it with Elda and Beardoin a little bit later. But I found like this guide online. It's actually got a really good route through Ered Luin, and you can finish the whole thing in like an hour and a half. And between that and then how long did it take us to get to the Shire Carve? It was like maybe 40 minutes, 30, 40 minutes.
We did like half the Shire and a good chunk of the Slayer deeds in Breland in like 30 minutes because we were
Yeah,
timing
we
it by
put a
the
30
by
minute
the
in
time.
20 it was 27 minutes. We finished
Yeah,
the slug
yeah.
beat in the Shire. We finished the what
We
was it
did
like
like
the
slugs, flies, brigands.
slugs, flies, brigands, spiders. It was like a bunch of different
Yeah,
deeds
it was
in
like a
20
bunch
minutes.
of them. I mean,
But
2 minis going full board, new crazy. It was
it was amazing.
fantastic. It was so much fun, especially when
But
you got 2 minis who are running in that melody stance, and we're just coda. What was it? Ballad, coda. Everything dies. It was great.
yeah, it was amazing. So anyways, like between in the last like week and a half, I got like 700 or 800 turbine points just doing that. I did the route 3 times, 3 sessions of turbine point grinding, which didn't take long. 800 turbine points, and I was like, sweet. And then my third thing for the week was I won a Steely Dawn starter pack, which I was excited about, and in one of Gussie Moose's streams because I'd gotten them a while ago, and there was like a weird mix-up where the one on my Steam account I applied to Becca's account, like actual account, and the one on her account I like won't work. So, long story short, I finally have a Steely Dawn starter pack, so I have a Regian now and another 500 turbine points, which was enough for me to buy the new Farinorian zone, which was exciting. So I got that so I can do the instances, and had just enough left over to buy the bare-chested dwarf appearance,
Nice.
so I could ride my new chopper goat in style.
Awesome.
So a hairy-chested dwarf riding a hairy dwarf and son's chopper.
Indeed.
Very
That's
cool.
pretty great. And he's got like a mohawk.
Nice.
Yeah.
He's on Gladden, right?
Yep.
Sweet. We should totally have a goat ride and get our choppers together and do some merry
You gotta play Born to be Wild.
Oh yeah, and Bad to the Bone.
Yeah.
Create like a goater gang.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. A motor goater gang. We need to have a motor goater gang, and we need to meet somewhere, like on Gladden somewhere. That'd be awesome. Get your best Middle Earth biker outfit on.
That would be
See, we'd have to
awesome.
call him Melkor's Maiar or something like that, like Hell's Angels. You know?
The Eye of Sauron.
Melkor's meal.
Goater gang. Yeah, every time. Okay, so like I may have kind of nerded out about this a lot with that the Black Windfell's Hairy Dwarf and Sons goat, because every time I get on it now on Carvalon, I go and then Mrs. Carve goes, "What are you feeding that animal?" I was like, "That's brilliant." Okay, let's we still more Vendanks time. How was your week, man?
Yes, well, my week was pretty good. For one thing, surprisingly today, Pine Leaf got a pop culture reference.
What?
I know,
Woo!
and even crazier, it had to
What?
do with Oprah.
Oh, well,
I'm actually kind of disappointed.
So good
Nothing
job,
against
Pine Leaf,
Oprah, but I
suppose.
was like expecting it to be something about like Captain America or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Pinepedia is still learning. So also this week, it only took 3 hours to gain 2 levels on a 3-hour stream, so that was great.
3-hour stream.
Yeah. Luckily, I didn't get stuck on an island for 6 seasons or however long.
Ending was lost in Rohan aboard a tiny.
That used to be like one of my favorite shows as a kid. Anyway, also, the Rohan Bjorning in Bingo Boffin is actually not a Bjorning. And this is in no way a spoiler alert. They're actually 2 completely different NPCs, and I just totally did not
And you
did
conflated
not
them.
did not remember that. But luckily, the chat reminded me this week. So yeah, That's a thing. But there's so many characters in Bingo that just seem to like come and go that it's hard to remember who's who and all that stuff. The main thing is that the voice actor for this NPC is actually very similar to the Bjorning voice actress, or both of them are actresses. But anyway, very similar, which kind of threw me off, I guess. So anyway, Terry Adwin, what'd you do this week?
Well, the girls of Middle Earth took on a Moomock, so cross that off of
Well,
Terry.
we were forced to do it once Elise went and poked it.
Well, yeah, so I crossed it off Landreval Terry's bucket list. Didn't realize it had been on her bucket list, but it's well crossed off now. Because we took on one Moomock because Elise had to go poke it. Blame the Hobbit. And then she goes pulling another Moomock after we've just finished that one and are still catching our breath, and we're like, nope.
Is
Nope.
Elise
nope.
the suicidal hobbit I had to keep rescuing the one time I joined?
Yes.
I'm sure. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Skiplet Dragon. So yeah,
She's like a little sun running through Middle Earth.
Didn't realize that had been on Terry's bucket list. It's not on her bucket list anymore. It's no. Just you see those Moomocks, you can see them halfway across Middle Earth. Just go around.
I mean, not only are they able to smash you, but the guys on top of them are raining things
down at you
down on
too.
you too. So
That sounds like
you
a
know.
fascinating fight, though.
Yeah, well, you can watch the Girls of Middle Earth highlights.
Fun.
Or just wander out on Pelennor Fields and
Yeah, or just
you'll
do that
find it.
because I'm not doing it again. Level
Still only counts as one.
Or there's a roving thread in Osgiliath. That's probably pretty awesome too.
Leveled Crick Hollow Terry to 50 and got her first LI and got it Moria unlocked and promptly Blessing of the Valor upgraded her to 95, at which point I did what I have told people not to do, and I went to Gondor.
Do as I say, not as I do.
But it's my third champion at 95, and I kind of sort of know what I'm doing with the champion.
Right, that's
now.
true.
So, I kind of know where my weak points are.
You don't have to get used to the skills and stuff.
That's a scholar that can craft me a level 95 pocket. That would be fantastic because that's one thing you don't get in the equipment that they give you. They don't give you a decent pocket, and you can't get a decent pocket at the skirmish camp. Trust me, I looked.
I might be. I'm trying to remember if I ever got gilded to 95 on my scholar. I'll have to check.
And then my other highlight is after a week and a half of grinding that stupid festival quest, Sarissa the Burglar has finally got the toast emote. However, some of my other alts are still missing it and probably won't get it, and Turbine still hasn't added it to the store. So please, Turbine, add the toast emote to the store for those of us that have crappy luck with the RNG.
But some
Which
things
is
have to say
like
special.
everybody.
You gotta have some things that are special. They're treats. If everybody can get it, then it's not special anymore. The toast of milk is a happy miracle.
RNG, or you can throw money at Turbine. I think they would actually rather we throw money at them. I don't know. Anyway, Maven, how was your week?
Oh, well, let's see. Back to the Girls of Middle Earth. We basically, what Terry didn't tell you is that we left a trail of bodies all across Rohan. we went war banding, and and it was also, since it was the anniversary event, it's like, hey, we can get steel tokens, so we're just killing stuff. We're killing, every time we ride from one war band to the other, we're just killing stuff. Oh, and we went into the dragons area. What is that, off of Eaworth, I think it is. Went in and did the dragons in there just for fun, and then we went to Pelennor, and not only did we take on the Moomac, but we also took on 2 war bands, not at the same time, thankfully, because it's really different running around, at level 100-ish in Rohan versus level 100-ish in Pelennor, because in Pelennor everything gets aggroed, and so you've got the war band and all the other stuff, of course.
Every half the battlefield is chasing
so
after. And I just dismounted at one point and started just slaughtering my way through stuff. I had to first to get it to stop chasing Elise because she's running around and getting more stuff, and it's chasing her, and it's got to stand still long enough for me to hit it so I can kill it. So. And
I'm just running around throwing traps everywhere. I'm just throwing traps everywhere I can.
Yeah.
It was, oh my gosh, but it was really fun. And we actually we did wipe once. I think on the second warband in Helena we wiped, but we went back and got our revenge, so that was good. Had an awesome time with Carving Company on Tuesday at Amundsen, and I can't remember what was the second thing we did.
We did
did Amundsen.
the Rivendell one.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
Fort of Brunnen.
the Forts of
Yeah, the Brunnen. We
Brunnen,
kept the elf boys alive.
we
No,
kept the
we
Pine
wiped-
Leaf would have been so
we
proud.
This one once. We had to do it twice
Hey,
because one of
Yeah.
the boys got himself in trouble and died.
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
say always.
But it was,
Yeah,
yeah,
twice,
it
I
was,
think
you
we
know,
did.
those were two. Did we do it twice? We didn't do it twice.
We
Did we
did,
do
no,
it
we did.
twice?
Oh, we did it twice.
No, we didn't.
We did.
I don't
Yeah,
think
we did. We did. We had to do it twice.
Okay. All right. I don't remember
I think-
that, but that's okay.
Oh,
Oh,
No, because we lost Elro here in the first one.
Terry Adwin, you didn't say your third thing, which I was going to applaud, which Sarissa finally got the toasty mode. Did you
I
say
did.
that?
Yes, I did.
Oh,
Yeah, she did. She
And
did
then
it.
where did I go?
My other
Hello.
still missing it and talked about how it's still not in the store.
And my last thing, which I know I have not said, which I will now say, is that every character who wanted a Winterfell's goat now has one. So everybody that wanted a chopper in my cadre of alts now has a chopper. So awesome.
I just like the idea of Maven going to each of her characters with like a survey and like seeing which
Yes,
mounts
so my
they
little
each want.
clipboard. Now,
Yeah.
would you like Winterfell's goat? Okay, I'll put that next to your name.
This
Okay, fine.
week we're
And by the way, I
serving
do have a
the
bare-chested
City
dwarf on Landreval era. So
Ah.
you know, if you ever want
Yeah.
to,
Are-
so.
Like, are you satisfied with the current state of your wardrobe?
Yes or no?
Are you satisfied with your current steeds?
Is your transportation option helping you with all forms of terrain? Underground, above ground, slanted ground, whatever it takes.
So listen, Pine Leaf, to wind this madness up, how was your week?
Wind it up? Wow.
Well, this portion of it anyway.
Okay. Oh, I was thinking that you meant to wind it up so that it was tighter.
Oh no. To finish it off.
Okay,
Wound
finish
pretty
it
tight
off.
today
All right.
as it is.
That meaning of all right. On Arkenstone, my warden finally reached Minas Tirith, and I was essentially going through the central and eastern Gondor areas, trying to get the epic done on. Well, that is pretty much. Oh no, actually no, I'm getting my characters confused. This particular character had already. That's right, had already done the central Gondor parts. Was in eastern Gondor, and I was halfway through there, and then I got distracted for a couple of months. So I decided, okay, I'm finally going to get around and get over to Minas Tirith. So I went in, finished up the epic on that side, had my fun going through Osgiliath, which is, and yeah, did the epic stuff in Osgiliath and got to Minas Tirith. Finally arrived in Minas Tirith. Yay, I finally got there, got to the epic part there, and of course, as is traditional, arriving in Minas Tirith says, "Welcome to Minas Tirith. We will now crash for your convenience." Then after Arkenstones, then today on Crick Hollow, I was getting my Lore Master, and my Lore Master now is trying to get to Minas Tirith, and I'm trying to get all the way through there, so I am currently in our fun place of Osgiliath, and I've got to the point in that my Lore Master isn't as good as my Warden is in avoiding combat, because my Warden, of course, has stealth skills where I could get through a couple of tight spaces, and B, if I want to have my full effect and power, I'm going to have my pet around, and pets aren't exactly a good combination when you're trying to sneak around. And eventually, it was getting late, getting near time for the stream, and I was near the Great Bridge, and I was there, and I said, no, there's no way in the world I was going to get to the culverts in time. So I found this little place, this little rocky place under the bridge, and went there under the bridge and then logged off there since no mobs spawned there as far as I know. So hopefully I could get back there and finish it up. But I had myself an hour and a half. I couldn't get to the culverts. Real pain. I was wondering now. I make. Oh, that's right. I don't think I had a quest telling me to go there. Oh, actually, no, I do have a quest. Maybe I should have just mithrilled there. With it a whole lot easier. Yeah, no. If I'm considering mithrilling it, you know it's really bad. And then this weekend, I managed to get not one but two Bjornings to Minas Tirith, and not Minas Tirith, to Helm's Deep.
You wish it was Minas Tirith, maybe.
Yeah, I wish it was Minas Tirith. One of them was with Ann Dang in the Bingo Boffin stream, and the other one is the one I'm doing for my YouTube series. So I managed to get both of them up to Helm's Deep.
That's craziness.
So they're right next to each other at the moment.
And don't you have at least one more Bjorning above that?
Well, I have one that's at cap, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your Bjornings are starting to seem like wardens finally. We predicted this was going to happen.
No. Pineleaf will always be the Wardenator. You can see him pulling up as a hobbit with sunglasses that says, "Come with me if you want to skirm."
And Pinepedia is definitely Skynet, just for the record.
Let's head into Middle Earth video highlights. The battle at the Black Gate.
Yes, Pineleaf. This shows that you're supposed to, respect the Articles of War, especially if you're in a Peter Jackson film.
Ooh.
It was great.
But yeah, if you have not seen the extended edition of the Peter Jackson film, you might not be familiar with this scene. It is in the books too, although I think... Don't they talk a bit more in the books? I feel like they talk a bit more in the
They
books.
probably
There's,
do.
there's
Well, I
more
would
talking
think
in
so
the
if you're talking with a character who's known as the Mouth of Sauron. There would be some talking.
Yes, I would imagine. So anyway, this is definitely a parody of the films, and it's hilarious, and I recommend watching it. And yeah, it's just awesome, and I don't want to spoil any of it, but take a look.
Then let's head into our moot of the week. And what are the pros and cons of Lothlorien? So therefore, let us begin with the books. And anyone have any pros that they have on how it's described and how you feel in the books?
This is the part of the podcast in which Terry goes to sleep.
Well, if you're talking about Lothlorien, I think that's kind of the ideal. Is it supposed to be a peaceful, elven, bastion, haven kind of thing that is the way it is because Galadriel says it is the way it is. It's like elvendom on earth, as they say in the movie, which is a different category. We won't go there yet. But Lothlorien definitely has that pocket of the elf kingdoms that were vestiges of it, and that's the whole point of it.
Yeah, it's in something about the books that you get that you don't get with the movies or the games as much. Really, is the temporary feel of it, in a way. Like when Galadriel is saying, she has passed the test. I'll remain Galadriel and pass into the West. Whatever that whole thing. It's like you get her history with the Silmarillion and wanting power and stuff. Lothlorien in the movies and in the games is pictured as this place of of pure nothing but good, born out of good, and is epic, etc., etc., etc. But in the books, you really get much more of a complex picture of it. It's kept undefiled, almost unnaturally, in a way, and it's born out of Galadriel's desire for power and things like that. There's like a slight downside that you get, and a slightly more complex history of it that you get in the books that you don't quite get in the movies, or in the game, which I think is cool because it makes it more like a real place You know, like even like the United States of America, and there's like this stereotypical thing for a long time of like, oh, it's the best place in the world, and everyone wants to go there to make a future. But then the United States has had its own checkered past, as has every country. But having that in the books really makes Lothlorien feel like so much more of a real place that's not there anymore. You know, it's really nifty the way Tolkien had that complex history. Like Rivendell is doesn't have that sort of complex history. It's a stronghold of Elvendom in the mountains. Great. But Lothlorien has that depth of story behind it and that sort of not 100% awesome desire of Galadriel behind it. And it makes it just so much more interesting. I don't know. My 2 cents.
Also, there's Leaves of Gold.
He's of gold.
Yeah, that too ending.
It makes a good poem.
Really. Okay, anyone have any cons for Lothlorien in
Lots
the
of elf
books?
singing. That's a con.
Lots of elves. You say singing elves is a con?
Well, yeah. Tolkien purists will hate me, but yeah. I admit to having skipped all of the songs in the books like the first 2 or 3 times that I read them.
Ah.
I was like a 16-year-old dude. Nobody got time to
You can
read
send your
elf
flaming
songs.
emails to @Aratherd on Twitter.
Yes, that's at ARATHA. I'm just kidding.
Wow, you can't even spell my name ending. I feel
No,
like
it's okay. I skipped the poems first few times too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
And
I
it
did as
wasn't
well.
until later on that I forced myself to actually read them out loud, where I really began to go, oh. But I was much older by that point,
It wasn't until
'cause,
I
you
started
know,
listening to the Tolkien Professor podcast where I'm like, oh, those are actually pretty good. I should probably read through them.
yeah,
And I mean, I read through them in The Hobbit, but in The Lord of the Rings, I was just like, okay, let's move things along. This is
Yeah.
already a really long book.
I don't know if it's a con necessarily, but Lothlorien is the part of the Lord of the Rings where you really, 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 really can tell how much Tolkien loves elves.
And descriptions.
And description, like even more than Rivendell, he just loves the elves, and yet I'm just kind of over elves.
because it's the
Oh,
high
you
elves,
are?
man.
What
We
a
couldn't
shock.
tell, Terry.
the high elves, man. They're rolling Malorn tokes in the bag. That's wrong.
Okay.
Anyway,
All right, then let's head into the films then. What are the pros of the film?
there's pro on film.
Yes, actually,
Well-
that I think they got
There's
the
not as much time spent there as in the books.
Ouch! If
I-
that's the best thing you could say about it.
No, I think like they got the kind of timelessness, like time stops in Lothlorien feel down pretty well in the movie. Just the feel of it, they did pretty well, I thought. Like kind of almost an eerie quality to it. It was good.
Yeah, they really give you that sense of otherworldliness with the elves.
Yeah, that's definitely
Like,
true.
like that's where you get that in Lothlorien. Everything has got kind of a slight mist to it, I guess, and everything seems kind of dreamy.
And they
And
come in
that's
at
the whole
night,
point.
don't they, too? Like, to where it looks like this really surreal place, because they're coming in at night and going around, like, all those spiral step things.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Really
yeah.
cool shot.
All the
to
flats
that.
are lit up by the different kind
Yeah.
of lights they have, and everything is just like whoa. And the big reveal that Haldir gives when they come around the corner, and it's like, Kadas Kalathon, the heart of Elvendom on Earth, and the soundtrack swells, and it's all like, oh, you're just like, wow. Can we go back to fighting stuff? Visually, it's a stunning, stunning place, and I think that was the intent is that you've just come out of this armpit of Middle Earth, Moria, and they're being chased by hundreds of orcs and whatnot that are feeding out of Moria, but they get into Lothlorien, and it's like okay, this is cool. But then they have to pass like all these challenges to even get in and pull in all kind of favors and stuff because let's face it, elves don't want to share their good stuff. I understand. Um,
Oh,
so yeah, but they did a really good job of showcasing the otherness of the elves. I think that's
Yeah,
yeah.
what
I
the
agree
only
with
thing I
that.
can
I
put.
noticed you were emphasizing in your prose visuals, which implies that you have things that are cons in other aspects.
That was amazing, Penleaf. Yes, there are plenty of cons. First of all, Celeborn.
I thought he was a con in all versions.
But like he is really non-existent in this one. I mean, it's like a couple seconds of screen time and then
He's
that's it.
Galadriel's arm candy.
Tell me, where is Gandalf? I much desire to speak with him. That's his whole line. Like
Yep.
Celeborn's here just to point out, hey, dude, where's Gandalf? That's it. That's his part. Boom.
I
He's
think he has
Galadriel's arm candy. I'm telling you.
he has a bigger part in the Taking the Hobbits to Isengard remix than he does in the movie.
He does. He totally
Tell
does.
me, where is Gandalf? For I much desire to
Tell
speak.
me, where is Gandalf?
Another con is that the weapon giving is not in the core version, it's in the extended edition.
All the good scenes are in the extended edition.
Oh, I will say this. Even though the extended version had to be where you find the Galadriel gift scene, the way they do it on film really works considering what Gimli asked for.
Yeah, it
Because the
surprised me.
idea, yeah, it works really well, and I love the way they give him that completely awestruck backflash, where Gimli gets the golden hairs, and there's this huge deal about why that's so important. But the
Mhm.
idea that they would show this clunky dwarven glove with these delicate strands of elven hair, it's like, yeah. But the way they did it, it totally hooks your emotions and pulls you in. And I
Yeah.
was like, that's really good filmmaking right there.
Then
And then
let's.
also, hang on, crazy, crazy water sequence of craziness, which I know is more Galadriel, but man, that's crazy.
Well, yeah.
I just had a thought. One of the things about Lothlorien in the way that's portrayed in the films is there's a lot of kind of mist effects. I wonder if that's because they're rolling Malorn leaves and smoking them off camera.
Ah,
Because they are high elves, as Era pointed out earlier.
Ow.
bada bing, badum bum.
They did make good boats, though. I'll give them that.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
did good on the boats.
All right, let's go into the games there, and let's look into the pros for Lothlorien in the games.
You can skip
Oh.
it.
We have to wait for Terry to get to the con.
Oh, ouch! But
Well, I
you
mean-
have to go through it if you want to get to Mirkwood, though.
I like how in the games it's a good stark contrast to Moria.
Yeah.
In a sense that you come out of the dingy of Moria and you're like, oh, it's the Golden Wood. This is cool. And there's actually several places where I've noticed Tolkien in his writing and then the game developers have taken that idea of we're taking this dingy place and the next logical place to go to is like the exact opposite. So you go through the red swamp at the end of the Lone Lands and it's nasty and gross. But if you follow the level progression, you go to Evendim and it's hobbits and everything's happy again. And you're like, what the heck? It's kind of the same way in a different way when you come out of Moria and you transition back into the sunlight and then you get to Lothlorien and it's like, oh, check it out.
One thing
So it's
that I
kinda-
think is really amazing is how quick that transition is, and yet how natural it feels.
Yeah. Well,
It-
I mean, it makes sense.
Right. Whereas in other places, like transferring from the Lone Lands to like North Downs or like out of a lot of the earlier areas, they didn't have the best transitions between zones. But I
Yeah.
feel like that for whatever reason, even though it's a very quick transition, it just feels right. And I think it's because you just really want to see some beautiful things, and it just flows really well, I think.
I think also the fact that it's so geographically close.
Yeah.
Like the door of one spot, you're inside, it's dark. The next spot, it's the mirror, and it's like, oh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also I think it helps that the way you get from the door of Moria past the mirror down into Lothlorien, there's a lot of switchbacks and turns,
Mhm.
and it's a very broken visually. It's not line
Yeah.
of sight like in other zones where it's like, oh, la, 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 I'm in Rohan, boom, scenic change. Where the heck am I now?
Well,
It's like what?
And really, honestly, everything after this kind of had a lot better transitions, except for Inadwite, which is kind of its own little biome thing. But
That was a good word to
everything else
describe
seems
it.
to have really nice transitions after this, and I feel like that this was kind of their first really nice transition, except for maybe like the way into Moria. So.
Well, yeah, let's not talk about the way into Moria and how pain of a butt it is to get on the other side of it. But like seriously, why don't we have a stable to Moria from South Bree? Come on.
You can
I
get to the
know, really.
You
21st.
do, 21st Hall.
Right, but like
So
that's
you have to
that's
be halfway through Moria to get to it, but it's
yeah,
there.
that's it.
Yeah, it's kind of a pain.
And now
Like
there's the whole
if
Mithril
you're
thing.
in Moria, it's a pain in the butt to get out and go anywhere
is.
west of it.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
But one thing I do like, upsides and downsides of the game version of Lothlorien. Downside, like I've never finished the zone. Someday I will, but there's only so much talking to trees and stuff that I can stand at before I get tired of it. It's just too much of like hobbits. It's like, oh, we're gonna go get pie. Okay, pie, food. I can dig it. But elves, it's like, we want you to go get leaves. And I'm
And
like,
berries and
It
chalk.
sounds like we've transitioned into cons right now.
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
But
totally.
so I've never really had the stomach for very much of a whole lot of a whole lot of Lothlorien. But that being said, it is a beautiful, beautiful zone. Lorien always has like a special place in my heart, because when I first started playing the game, I was on a netbook with like a 6-inch screen, and or no, it was teeny. Anyways, and the first, like, I logged off in Lothlorien and got a laptop. And then when I got the laptop, I made sure I had a dedicated gaming, like a graphics card in it, so I could actually see. And it was for a school, quote unquote. And I logged in to the actual real Lothlorien with leaves on the trees and grass on the ground and actual water instead of just blue stuff. And it was amazing. It was a moment in gaming in LOTRO I will never ever forget. So Lorien has a spot in my heart because of that moment right there. It is beautiful.
All right. So, anyone have any cons they would like to mention? Such as, does anyone else feel like that there are way too many orcs that have invaded into there?
Yeah. Also,
Too much anything really.
I feel
I mean, I
like
don't-
Haldir has too many lines in this
Ouch.
version. It seems like he has an awful lot to say in
I
LOTRO.
mean, Haldir does have, a pretty pivotal role being captain of the border guards and whatnot.
Right.
I don't know. I think I really like the orc incursion up on the hillside there. Given how Lotro is supposed to have this condensed geographic map, so to speak, how so many feet in Lotro equals so many yards in the Tolkien's Middle Earth. The density of orcs in that particular part kind of makes sense that they would be gearing up to do something. So that really bothers me so much. What
Right, but
bothers
they
me,
actually are in like over by Great River. There's a ton of them too, so it's not like it's just
it's all around.
yeah. I mean, and so there's a lot more orcs than just those. I would be more okay if it was just those, but it feels like the Lothlorien's about to fall at any moment because of how many orcs are surrounding this place.
Right. We've got at least 3 major orc encampment areas.
Yeah, there's
If
the
we
one
had
that's.
just a couple more, we wouldn't have to sing to trees.
Tell you what, that's not a bad idea. I had a thought. It's gone. What was it?
Sorry about that.
It's okay. Oh yeah. So I got an idea. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put a bunch of our players through this crazy 3D map that's dark and it's underground, and they're gonna get frustrated, and then we're gonna put them in this beautiful place and give them more 3D maps on this stupid flats. It's like, oh my gosh. I understand that it
I've
makes
died from
sense.
falling more times in Lorien than I ever have in Moria,
Yeah, it's like
Honestly,
elves
I probably
lucky
have as
and
well.
elves.
including the deed,
I probably have as well now that I think about it.
which is just wrong.
Well, I don't think I've fallen quite that many times in Lothlorien, though I think I do tend to be ultra cautious in there.
Although you did used to fall a lot more in Moria because there used to be more kickback people, but now there's not
Oh,
as many.
yeah.
Mm.
We currently have 25 supporters on Patreon, and if you would like to join this illustrious raid of players and help support Locho players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you will find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or even be a guest here on Locho Players News. We do not have any iTunes reviews, but we do have a comment from Barnabas on Locho Players News. Great show. Somehow Pine Leaf was extra awesome this. What? As for the hunter being revamped, perhaps it was something to do with PvMP. I know when I see a hunter, I rub my hands together and think, all right, free lunch! They are the most underpowered of classes, except maybe the burglar. A well geared and well skilled guardian, however, is almost unkillable. All right. And actually, Terry, you do a bit more on PvP. What's your opinion on that?
I don't know. I haven't been in the more since update 18.
I
may
feel
or
like
may
it's mostly the same.
It
And
seems like
honestly, I've
Well,
I've never been nomsing on hunters. I prefer to go for the squishier targets like your lore masters and minis.
Yeah.
well,
Lore masters are nommable.
a good lore master is against a warg almost unkillable, because of the way the class is. But um, yeah, hunters do have it really rough in the moors specifically, um, because the highest damage output is redline, and being redline, which is a comparatively immobile class in the moors, at least against a warg, is free lunch unless you get the jump on somebody and you can heartseeker them out of stealth and stuff. But um, yeah, it's that being said, yellow line is very trolly,
Hmm.
like very very trolly. And yeah, guardians, a well geared and skilled guardians virtually unkillable. Same thing with warden.
Yep.
Bjorning, a reasonably geared Bjorning in
Hmm.
with moderate skill who spams heals and yellow line is almost unkillable. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of balanced stuff in
Yep.
the Morse for sure, but
And
and revamping that needs consideration if you were to look at the game only from a PvP standpoint.
well, what I think they need to do is balance all the classes on Freep's side, regardless of how they do it. You know, just handle it on Freep's side, make it be good over there, and then balance the creeps to whatever you balance them, but make all the classes be consistently the same, relatively, as far as balance goes. But you know, have them have very diverse skills, which I know is a ton of work, but it
Mm.
needs to happen, because there are classes in just normal group content on Freep's side, raids and things like that, that feel neglected and not
Sure.
wanted because of the current balance. So if you balance that side and then balance PvP to that, then that fixes a lot of your problems. I really hate MMOs that balance their PvP section over PvE because that just causes all sorts of issues unless the PvP section is actually the main focus of the game, in which case it makes sense, but most of the time it's not, and so I really don't like it when they purposely take away certain classes' diversity skills just because it doesn't work in the Moors or something like, or, you know, in their PvP scheme. So,
Right. And there's with the PvP balancing in Lotro after update, was it 16.2 when it was balanced again. It was actually really good. The things are balanced
hmm
in group fights, which is really what it's designed for. In group fights, it was you'd get good fights, you'd get good
yep.
long fights. But it seemed I don't know from personal experience, but anecdotal experience. After update 18, there's been remarkably little action. A lot of people have just not bothered, because of how unbalanced things are.
Well, and it's also early. Typically, after a
Yeah.
big update, it'll be a month before. I mean, there'll always be some people doing PvP, but it'll be about a month before people really start to return because a lot of PvP characters do have free side characters that they go through the new content and stuff like that. And especially after the way that Update 17 ended off story-wise, I think a lot of people were really looking forward to going through at least the epic on
Yeah.
their freeps.
And another struggle with balancing is that it's hard to balance considering different skill levels. Um, so you've got, I mean, hang on one second. Sorry about that. You've got different varying levels of skill within the game, which is why I'm excited about the call for raiders that they're doing for Palantir, so that they're actually going to be testing. They're going to be testing things based on the people that do it.
Yeah.
So you've got folks that most players play at 75% of players play at a certain level, which is where the game should be balanced too. But then you also have to make sure that when you get to the 25% of players that are super dedicated and want to be the best at their class or whatever, then you have to make sure that that balancing doesn't get tossed out the window, and you get certain people that are demigod mode out in things, and they are virtually unkillable, etc. It makes it really, really hard to balance things. It really does. But yeah,
All right.
hunters hunters are in an interesting position, to be sure. And
And we have an email this week from Trotter who writes, I love the task bulletin boards in your housing area after the latest update. I did not have a house in my account until they were introduced, as I saw no point until they were. I am so happy that Turbine introduced this. Best regards, Trotter.
Yeah, good to find somebody that really appreciates that. I know that a lot of players have, well, not a lot of players, but some players have said, like, what's the point of this? And I think that there are players that really appreciate this, and I'm guessing that putting the task boards in the housing area was not a ton of work, and so it was just a nice, easy quality of life fix for some players, and so it's good to see that some players are really appreciating it.
I remember that when I was doing Forhel and Eregion, very often you would have task things drop in one area that would only be they could only turn in at the other one. So
Yeah.
having it at the housing area is convenient for those situations.
What's also, go ahead, Eric.
I was going to say it makes it it also gives you another reason to go back to your housing area.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not a highly trafficked spot, to be honest.
Between that, the crafting store, purchasable items, and a lot of the other changes they've made, housing has become a lot more viable this year, and I guess at the end of last year too.
Makes it actually like a player base, which makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
You're adventuring, you come home, you make yourself new stuff, you get rid of all the random toasted ears you have in your bags for whatever reason.
Toasted ears.
You come home from a long day's adventuring, throw some stuff in the chest, kick your boots off by the fire, have a leg of mead.
And make yourself an Osculith troll teeth necklace, and you're all good to go.
Good to go. One thing I do like, and I don't know if this is the way it's always been or if it's new since they've added the multitask boards, is that you can see when you pick up a quest what faction that particular item is going towards, so you can pick. But on top of that, the task boards that are in areas where you don't have the quest pack unlocked still work as normal. That's really nice. If you happen to be doing an epic in an area you don't have the quest pack for, you can still pick up reputation because you're going to be killing stuff when you're going through there.
Yeah.
If you would like to send us an email, you can send it to podcast@lotraplayers.com. You can also follow us at Twitter, The Players Alliance @PlayersAlly, Lotro Players @Lotro Players, Andang @PVMP_Andang, Arathert @Arathert, Carvet @CarvetLP, Maven @Tolkien Maven, Pineleaf @Pineleaf Needles, and Terry Adwin @Terry Adwin. The Players Alliance has 4 live shows. Every Monday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News. On the last Friday of every month at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Lotro Academy After School. Every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Lotro Players News, and every other Saturday after Lotro Players News, we have Tales of the Free Folk. You can join us for our live shows at LOTROplayers.com/live. Thank you everyone for listening. This is Piney Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.